Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. Before we get to the video that you came here for, if you could do me one quick favor, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know. Also, if you want to, click the little bell notification so you know anytime any of our previews go live. We appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. A game that I think we all thought was going to have much more intrigue. In many ways, it does still have a lot of intrigue, just a different kind of intrigue than what we thought. I am, of course, talking about Texas at Florida, SEC opener for Texas. This game, it is a 3:30 Eastern game. Texas, a 6.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 43 in the Circa Sportsbook. Let's go ahead and dive in. Before we do, though, we have to acknowledge what it is versus what we thought it would be. And what we thought it would be is a game featuring two teams that were very much in the college football playoff race. Texas clearly still is. Florida, not so much. But I think more importantly, listen, I think there was a legitimate conversation. Is this the matchup of the number one quarterback in the NFL draft of 2026, Arch Manning, versus the number one quarterback in the NFL draft of 2027, DJ Lagway? We're not quite there. Must-win game for both teams for different reasons, both coming off a bye. So let's go ahead and step in. Let's start with Texas. You know, we've talked so much about Florida with those intriguing games that they played against LSU and Miami before the bye. We really just haven't spent that much time talking about Texas because the last three games, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston State, a little bit off the radar. What do we know about Texas? What we know, let's be glasses half full and say that that defense is elite, okay? Listen, I know what I just said about the schedule. I know that 3 of the last 4 games have been against Sam Houston State, UTEP, and San Jose State. What I also know is this. They went to the Horseshoe and basically held Ohio State to 200 yards of total offense. 203 yards, in fact, 126 yards passing, 77 yards rushing. And it's easy to forget this now because it was Labor Day weekend. It was over a month ago. Texas actually outgained Ohio State by over 100 yards. Some of it was quarterback play as to why they didn't win, but it's worth noting they did outgain Ohio State in the Horseshoe, and I think that's worth noting. So the defense is elite. It has held up, and I don't think you can just say it's because of bad competition because, again, 200 yards of total offense against Ohio State. Number 4 defense in America. Number 3 rush defense in America. That's horrifying if you're a Gator fan. And the 16th ranked pass defense, totaling the number 2 scoring defense in all of college football. And we talked about this a lot last year. So much focus is with Sark and the play calling and the this and the that. I give him credit. He has identified the right coaches for that defensive side of the ball. He has let them coach their team. I'll say this, next week is the Red River Shootout, Texas, Oklahoma. It's almost the inverse of Brent Venables. I know that John Napier is hurt right now, but I give Brent Venables credit for saying, I'm the defensive guy. I need to hire the right offensive coordinator and let him do his job and not micromanage. Well, Steve Sarkisian has done the same thing on the defensive side of the ball, and the defense has been, frankly, what has carried them the last few years. Defense is elite. The offense, I think the best way to put it, is still very much a work in progress. Listen, I'm not going to tear down Arch Manning at this point. We know what he is. We know what he isn't. But through 4 games, 61% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If we are being fair, I know Sam Houston stinks, first-year head coach, but what did play his best game of the season against Sam Houston, 18 of 21 passing, 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, also 2 rushing touchdowns as well. So we have to be fair. Best competition? No. But best game of his season, absolutely. Now the question is, can he build momentum off of that going into Florida? Florida. All right. Where do we begin? How do we even attempt to be fair with the Florida Gators? Well, to be fair, couple things. One, they have played a pretty tough schedule. Now, I still don't know how good LSU is, but what I will say is they played 2 of the better defenses in college football in their last 2 games, at LSU, at Miami, both on the road. They are back in the swamp, and their defense has been very good. I think it's easy to forget this. Don't look even necessarily at the total season stats because I think they're a little bit deceptive. But you take out the fourth quarter against Miami where they were just on the field so much that they were absolutely gassed. You know that in the 15 quarters before the fourth quarter against Miami, so in other words, there's 4 games, 4 quarters in a game, right? Take out the last quarter that we saw against Miami. You understand Florida played 15 quarters to that point. They gave up 3 defensive touchdowns, 1 to South Florida, 1 to LSU. LSU, of course, had a pick 6, and then 1 in the first 3 quarters against Miami. Again, they were on the field a lot. They were gassed a lot. I don't think we should dismiss how good this defense has been. Conversely, part of the reason the defense has been on the field so much, maybe the main reason the defense has been on the field so much, it's because this offense is abominable. Okay. And listen, there are some all-time bad decisions in the history of planet Earth. I'm not enough of a historian to know, people talk about like the Louisiana Purchase being the most one-sided trade ever. Billy Napier deciding not to hire a play caller, not to hire an offensive coordinator in the offseason is going to go down as one of the dumbest decisions ever. Now, I know he's going to get paid at the end of the year. He's going to get bought out. He's going to be rich, whatever. But this offense, it's not just bad. It's just, I don't even know what to say. I mean, what do you say about an offense that, going back to that Miami game, and even if you want to argue Miami's pretty good, okay. Miami, let's just go to the Miami game. 141 yards of total offense, 61 yards passing, under 3 yards per completion. And if you listen to the Miami-Florida State preview, 0 for 13 on third down conversions against the Miami Hurricanes. That is bad, but here's the thing. It is a metaphor and a microcosm for the season. Coming into this game, Florida with the 115th ranked total offense. That's 1 spot ahead of Iowa. That's 1 spot ahead of Wisconsin. So you're talking about the most abysmal offense in power conference football, and an offense that is so bad that a coach is probably going to end up getting fired at some point. I don't know what Luke Fickell's buyout is, but it's like one of the worst offense in college football. One of the most shockingly bad hires that we've seen in Luke Fickell. That's where Florida's offense is, but it actually gets worse. Because if you take out a 55-0 win over Long Island, where they had close to 500 yards of total offense, last 3 games, and admittedly, the defenses they've played are pretty good, they're averaging 287 yards of total offense. So you take out the Long Island game. They played Long Island University, the Sharks. I didn't know there were Sharks in Long Island. Another conversation for another day. They are averaging 287 yards of total offense. That would rank 131st nationally out of 134 teams. Between Kent State and Western Michigan. They basically have a MAC offense right now, if you take out Long Island. So it's really bad. The defense has been really good. If we're being fair to Billy Napier, I will say Dallas Wilson, 5-star wide receiver, has been out all year. He's expected back for this game, so that's a glasses half full thing. By the way, I didn't mention this with Texas. Quintravian Wisner, last year's leading rusher, who got hurt, pulled a hamstring against Ohio State, or right around that time, has not played the last 3 games. Sark wouldn't commit to him playing this week, but basically said in his Monday press availability, like, you guys are going to get an injury report by the end of the week. I don't expect him to be on it. We're recording before the injury report comes out, but I expect Quintravian Wisner back for this game. That was their leading rusher a year ago. So Texas's defense is elite. Texas's offense is a work in progress. Florida's defense is elite. Florida's offense is at best abysmal, at worst a work in progress. What does that make our best bet in this game? You can probably guess it is the under of 43. I don't care how low this number goes. I don't think I can bet the over in this game. I think it'd have to be at like 28.5. If it gets down to 28.5 by Saturday, I might have to consider the over. I don't think I can consider it in any other scenario, okay? The Florida offense is a train wreck, okay? It's predictable. It's bad. They can't run the ball. When they can't run the ball, they can't throw the ball. Is DJ Lagway hurt? Is he regressing? Is it the offense? Is it the play calling? I don't know. But I gave you the stats. 141 yards of total offense against Miami. Well, guess what? Maybe Miami's defense is that good. Here's the counter to that. Texas's defense is just as good. And it sucks for Florida. And in some ways, I feel bad for Florida. Yes, I get that it is a byproduct of the schedule, and it's not their fault that they happen to draw Texas and LSU and all these teams, plus they're playing Miami, plus they're playing Florida State out of conference, and both those teams are good. But at the same time, He's still got to move the ball against them. And if you couldn't move the ball against LSU, and if you couldn't move the ball against Miami, I don't think you're going to magically figure it out in a bye week. Maybe you will. I will give credit to Florida. They were much better off of their first bye last year. I remember they played UCF in their first game off of a bye and was maybe the best game of the Billy Napier era, frankly. Maybe not. I mean, Ole Miss and LSU were better last year, but you get the point, is that they were good off of a bye. I just don't see how you can create a run game in one bye week, in one whatever. And here's the other thing. I think Billy Napier, too, last year, I think he was fighting for his job. I think conversely, this year, he's kind of quit. I mean, he's now getting snippy with the media. On the Aaron Torres pod, we talked about him kind of snapping at Grant Hall, the reporter down there. This week, he was asked about, why he decided to not hire a play caller this offseason. And I think what he said, I think he's tired of answering the same question, but he basically said, my play calling is what got me this job. Why would I give it up? Well, here we are. So anyway, point I'm trying to make is I don't think there's some magic rally because I think Billy Napier knows it's over. I think the players know it's over. And transparently, and I've said this on the Aaron Torres pod, is that if there was no 4-game redshirt rule, I think Billy Napier would have been fired going into the bye. I think they simply kept him around because they didn't want all of the best players transferring, all of the best players redshirting and taking a red shirt and not playing the rest of the year. And I think probably going into the second bye as they get set for Georgia right around Halloween weekend, we will see Billy Napier gone. Not rooting for it, not wishing for it, whatever. But I will give credit. Both these defenses are elite. I don't trust Florida's offense at all. I certainly don't trust Texas's offense on the road, although who knows how many fans will be there. As a matter of fact, I want to actually look this up really quick, see what the get-in ticket price is. Let's see here. According to what I am looking at, let's see here. One second. Let's see. I'm actually kind of curious on this. Get-in ticket price about $115. That was higher than I thought it would be. Anyway, under 43. We don't need to keep going on and on. I think the under. I don't trust either of these offenses, even Texas's on the road. Give me the under of 43.